Hey everyone, welcome to another $1,000 strap search. I've got my $1,000 in singles here and I'm about to show you what I found. But before I do, I want to tell you a couple things. First of all, this is my 100th video. Not necessarily my 100th strap search, but my 100th video overall. Yay me. 100 videos. I couldn't believe it. So I made sure to pull out something special for you guys from my box. But before we get to that, let's talk about some of the other things I usually do. Thanks to everyone who's been checking out my top 10 lists. Those have been going really well, better than I ever expected. I've got probably 20 lists so far that I've come up with, so look forward to seeing those every Sunday. And of course, on Thursday, I will still have my same $100 strap searches as well as my bonus from my security deposit box. So, with all that being said, what is this week's hint? Well, this week's hint was a hint that I've mentioned before, but it's worth mentioning again, especially because I just finished a particular milestone other than my 100th video. My hint this week is to remind you guys, I don't spend $5 bills. I happen to get straps of singles quite a bit, and every once in a while I take a strap of singles and I will set that aside. And then anytime I get a $5 bill, I will take the $5 bill and I will put it in the strap and I will take out one single. So there's still 100 notes in the strap, but one of them will be a 5, 99 will be a single. Every time I get a $5 bill, I do that again and again, and eventually I take a strap of singles and I turn that strap into a strap of 5s. Yeah, I know there was an old one in there. I checked that particular one out and it was in rough condition. But anyway, this strap of 5s, that's $500. So I managed to save $500 just by not spending 5s. What an awesome savings account. Think of all the bills I've shown already that are 500 or less that essentially by not spending $5 bills, I can now purchase because I did that. So that's my tip for this week. I call it my eccentric savings account. Don't spend $5 bills. Put them in a strap like this, and before you know it, you've got a nice sum of money to pick up your next batch of notes, or use it for a Christmas fund or anything else you like, but it's just a great way to save money. All right, got my 1,000 in singles. Getting those out of the way, let's take a peek at what I found. Got some interesting stuff. First note here, I have to zoom in on this one just so you can see. I'm 90% sure this is dirt or just damage, but you'll notice that this note here has a little bit of green here. It's got green here, got green up in here. It looks like a partial ink smear, but I'm doubting it the more I look at it. I saw it, I thought it was interesting, so I figured I'm gonna pull that out just to show some of the things that I find. The thing that makes it interesting is the green, but I suppose if you were to take a brand new bill and rub it across a rough surface, you may get that green to smear like that as you see here. So I'm not too positive that that's an ink smear. Probably going back into circulation, just something I found. Next up, I've got an alternator. This one is the 1 for the alternator. So you've got 41, 51, 41, 71. So the 1 is the alternating digit on this particular note. Next up, I did get a group of trinaries, 1s, 2s, and 7s on this particular note. 2s, 8s, and 5s here. This one is 2s, 4s, and 8s. And we've got 2s, 5s, and 6s on this one. This one is a group of notes that were, there was probably only 5 or 6 of them, and this is in order with the other one. So this was the other trinary, 2s, 5s, and 6s as well. And this one is 0s, 4s, and 6s. Somebody wrote on it. That's too bad because it's nice when you've got a bunch of zeros like that. This one is 3s, 7s, and 8s. One away from a binary. Still a trinary. Still counts. 2s, 5s, and 6s on this one. And this one also has 4 5s in a row right there. 4 5s on that particular one. This one is quad 7s. And another quad 7s right behind it. Really good shape. This one's quad 8s. Not quite as nice for condition. Quad 9s on this one. And then I did get a 5 in a row. I got 5 of a kind. 5 6s right there. One of them does have a slight overprint on it, but 5 6s, so that's pretty cool. Did find some stars. 2013. Another 2013. All of these will go into my stack. Like I said, I always check my star notes at mycurrencycollection.com. I do them all at once because instead of spending 2 minutes on 100 notes each for 200 minutes, I will spend about 20 minutes putting them all in order and then run one note and I get the entire list. So it's always quicker to do it that way. 2009 star note here. Did find a couple older notes. This one's 1999. Another 1999. And a third 1999. And the oldest note in the group, a 1988A. Whenever you get a 1988A, a 1993, or a 1995, you're always going to be checking that little corner there. You can see that this one says FW. That means Fort Worth. That's where that was printed. B is the position, and 328 is the plate number. With all that information, I know this is a regular note. If it only had the plate number and didn't have the FW or the B, then you know you're looking at a web press note, and it's worth something. 88A, 93, and 95. And for those of you who were eagle-eyed, I do have something in a holder. So I found something really good and in really good condition. Before I get too good, this was razor sharp, perfect, uncirculated. It was in a group of about 5 or 6 notes. You can see those corners are good, centering is good. What is this particular note? It is a 2017, and it's a radar found in circulation. What's a radar number? A radar is when you can read it the same forward and back. This starts off with 4515 and ends with 5154. So the 4515 reads the same forward and back. 4515554. Hard to say out loud, but yeah, that's definitely a radar. Reads the same forward and back. It's also a trinary with 1s, 4s, and 5s. And since I found it in a group of brand new notes, like I said, there's only 5 or 6 of them in that group, but lo and behold, there was the radar in the group. So I was really excited about that. Of course, the note is just perfect, uncirculated, into the holder right away. That's the way you really want to find all the fancy serial numbers. Uncirculated, you get maximum value for those. All right, so for my 100th video, I figured I should bring out something special. And, well, I've shown you guys a lot of special stuff, so it gets a little tougher to find special stuff. One of the notes that I have been looking for the longest time, I was able to get a hold of, and that's what I'm going to bring out right now. Generally, if a note has a name, it's a good note. And, well, you guys probably already know by the title what this is. This is a Federal Reserve banknote. You can see that it's from the series of 1918 right there. 1918 Federal Reserve banknote. It is a $2 bill. It still says national currency on the top. The Federal Reserve banknote, the Federal Reserve banks, they're the same Federal Reserves then as they are now, all 12 of them. And for those of you who collect modern notes, you know how difficult some of the smaller ones like Minneapolis or Kansas City, how tough those notes can be. So when I spotted this particular note, this $2 Federal Reserve banknote, and saw that it was from Minneapolis, I said, that's the note for me. I have to get this particular one. Now, why am I oohing and eyeing all over this particular note? This particular note is one of the most famous Federal Reserve banknotes that you're going to find. This note is called the Battleship note, because when you flip this thing over, check that out. That is a World War I battleship. Now, I looked, I couldn't find a name. It just said World War I era battleship in the descriptions. I'm sure there's a book out there that's got the name of this particular battleship, but to have a World War I battleship as the reverse on your note, now that's saying something. It's an extremely, extremely cool note. One of the most collectible notes you'll ever find. The 1918 $2 Federal Reserve banknote, otherwise known as the Battleship note. Just such a cool note. Like I said, World War I era battleship. Talk about showing your military might on your money. Just an incredible note. This one here is in okay condition. It's got some little stains here on the side, a little bit on the bottom. You can see they do go through. But like I said, this was a more rare note being from Minneapolis. I had to own a Battleship note. Let's take a look at the book, see what the book has to say about the Battleship note. All right, there we go. 1918 Battleship note. Once again, just such a cool image of the note right there. Now you'll see most of these, all the different Federal Reserves. There's a couple different signatures. Then there's star notes as well. These start off roughly 350, roughly 350-ish. Mine is from Minneapolis, so that's on the other page here, right there on the top. Let's see, I think it's $773 if I remember correctly. Starts off at about $350 in VG8. Quickly goes to $450. If you get one in VF20, it's $875. Over 1,000, actually over 1,100 if you want it in EF40. And yeah, they can easily get over 4,000 if you're talking a gem note. But once again, my book is also old. And whenever you get the more popular notes, like the Battleship, any note that's basically has a name, they tend to sell for a bit more of a premium. So finding one of these can run you a little bit more than what the book says on there, because most people that have them don't want to give them up. I know I was proud to get it. I have no interest in giving this one up for almost any price. Of course, not unless I could replace it. And if I can replace it, that means I could find one cheaper than I'd sell it for. Anyway, 1918 Federal Reserve Bank of Minneapolis national currency note, $2 bill, the World War I Battleship note. All right, guys, that's what I've got for you this week. If you learned anything new, go ahead and hit that like button. If you like what you see and you want to see more, please subscribe. I always read your guys' comments and look forward to my next top 10 list coming out on Sundays. Guys, thank you very much. I appreciate all the viewers I've been getting and all the new subscribers, and I'll talk to you guys again next week.